Imagine walking past a cafe in Copenhagen and spotting a baby pram left unattended outside, with the child safely napping inside, and nobody around to watch it. In Denmark, that's not shocking, it's a sign of deep social trust. Why do Danes teach trusting behavior from childhood, and how does it shape daily life, institutions, and society? Stay with me, because by the end of this video you'll see Denmark not just as safe, but as a trust-based society. And you might ask yourself, could your country ever be like this? Imagine moving to a new country where you can't leave your bike unlocked, can't trust strangers, and every little transaction feels like a trap. For many expats or travelers, that's the reality in most countries. In Denmark, however, trust is part of everyday life, from childhood to adulthood, making daily interactions smoother, safer, and far less stressful. In this video, we'll uncover how Denmark teaches trust from a young age, and why it's one of the most liberating aspects of living there. To help us out, be sure you hit like, subscribe, and share this video. Sustainability and green energy. Viking heritage. Welfare system. New Nordic food. Welcome to Denmark Explained, your front row seat to the hidden gems, quirky traditions, and powerful stories that make Danish culture truly unforgettable. To understand why trust is taught from such a young age in Denmark, we first need to look at how deeply it's woven into everyday life. From early childhood, children are encouraged to explore, make decisions, and take responsibility within safe boundaries. This isn't just about freedom, it's about building a social mindset. I trust others, and others trust me. Studies show that about 74% of adults in Denmark believe most people can be trusted. That's one of the highest levels in the world. And it's not just a nice feeling, trust has a measurable impact on society. Economists estimate that trust accounts for roughly 25% of national wealth. Why? Because when people generally behave responsibly, businesses operate more smoothly, legal conflicts are fewer, and public systems don't need constant enforcement. Think about that next time you see an unlocked bike or a wallet left on a cafe table. In many countries, that would be unthinkable. Trust in Denmark isn't static, it has grown significantly over time. Back in the late 1970s, fewer than half of adults believed most people could be trusted. Today, that number is nearly 80%. Education plays a role too. People with higher education tend to have higher trust in public institutions. And this trust is not blind. It is nurtured by daily experiences. Children see adults modeling honesty, institutions acting fairly, and neighbors cooperating. Even early schooling reinforces trust. Children are encouraged to work together, solve conflicts, and participate in decision-making. Teachers are approachable, and authority is less about control and more about guidance. This helps children internalize the idea that others can be relied upon and that their own actions matter. Later in the video, we'll explore how these lessons in trust connect to wider society, including how they impact mental well-being, public compliance, and even how the country handles crises. Another key point is that trust reduces stress and social friction. In high-trust environments, people are more confident interacting with strangers, and communities function more smoothly. This makes everyday life simpler and safer, especially for newcomers. Imagine moving to a country where you don't need to worry constantly about petty theft or deception. This is exactly what living in a high-trust society feels like. Finally, it's important to see that trust is a cycle. Children learn it, practice it, and experience it in public life. Those experiences reinforce their own behavior and eventually contribute to the culture at large. Later, we'll examine how institutions, welfare systems, and urban design support this trust loop, creating a society where trust is not just taught, but lived every day. Earlier I mentioned how public trust and enforcement costs are lower in Denmark. But how do children learn to trust, and be trustworthy, in the first place? Let's dive into parenting, schooling, and early socialization. Now that we've seen the foundation of trust in Danish society, let's explore how children actually learn to be trustworthy from a young age. It all starts at home. Parents give children responsibilities early on, from simple tasks like tidying up to small decisions about daily routines. This isn't about letting kids do whatever they want. It's about teaching them that their actions matter and that others expect them to act responsibly. Even in preschool, children are given autonomy within safe boundaries. They're encouraged to explore, make choices, and solve problems together. Teachers act more like guides than strict authority figures. They facilitate cooperation and help children navigate conflicts, rather than imposing rigid rules. This approach allows children to experience the positive results of fairness and mutual respect firsthand. Imagine a classroom where children help create the rules. It builds a sense of ownership and accountability that lasts into adulthood. Studies show that in high-trust classes, only 7.2% of students report daily emotional symptoms, compared to nearly 13% in low-trust classes. That's a significant difference, showing that trust isn't just about social skills, it also supports emotional well-being. And it's not limited to the classroom. Early experiences in family and school influence how children perceive fairness, responsibility, and cooperation throughout their lives. Later, we'll see how this early trust connects to how adults interact with society and public institutions. Another important factor is equality. Public education is free or low cost, giving all children access to similar opportunities. This reduces social gaps and reinforces the idea that people can rely on fair systems. When children grow up seeing that rules apply to everyone and that resources are distributed fairly, trust becomes natural rather than forced. Children also learn through daily interactions with peers. Conflict resolution, empathy, and teamwork are emphasized from an early age. They see firsthand how cooperating and behaving honestly leads to smoother relationships. By the time they leave school, these children have internalized trust as a social norm. Finally, it's important to understand that teaching trust is a continuous process. Early autonomy, cooperative learning, and fair treatment in everyday life create a feedback loop. Children learn that being trusted matters, they practice it, and they experience trust in return. Later in this video, we'll explore how public institutions and society at large reinforce these lessons, making trust a lived experience, not just a value taught at home or school. When children grow up in an environment of trust, they are far likelier to internalize norms of honesty, cooperation, and respect. That is part of why Denmark's society tends to be low in petty crime, low in enforcement overhead, and high in public compliance. Now my question to you: if you were raising children in your country, which would you prefer to emphasize? Option A: strict rules and supervision, because you want to ensure no mistakes or misbehavior. Option B: early autonomy and trust, because you believe people naturally behave better when honored and empowered? Write in the comments which option you'd choose. Planning a trip to Denmark? Or maybe you're moving there soon? Don't just Google your way through it. Let DenmarkExplained.com be your shortcut to a smoother, smarter, and way more fun experience. At DenmarkExplained.com/products, you'll find itineraries, ready-made plans that turn confusion into unforgettable days. E-books, packed with local insights, cultural tips, and everyday know-how. No boring history lessons, just stuff that actually helps. Expat guides, moving to Denmark? Get the info you wish someone told you before you landed. Everything's digital, everything's simple, and everything's designed to make Denmark feel less confusing, and way more cozy. So skip the stress, and get the guides that explain Denmark, clearly, cleverly, and in plain English. Check it out now at DenmarkExplained.com/products. Your trip, our tips, let's make it amazing. If you're enjoying this inside look at the city, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and share this video. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Comment below whether you'd move here or just visit. And stay tuned, because later in the video I'll reveal a story that might completely change how you think about living here. We've looked at how trust is taught at home and school, but teaching trust from a young age only works if social and institutional systems echo those lessons. In this chapter, let's explore how Danish institutions, welfare, and public design reinforce trust from childhood into adulthood. We've seen how trust is nurtured at home and in school, but what ensures it continues into adulthood? The answer lies in how society and institutions are structured to reinforce those early lessons. Public services play a huge role. Healthcare, education, and social welfare are universally accessible and designed to be reliable. When people see these systems operating fairly and efficiently, it reinforces their confidence in both the institutions and the people around them. Later, we'll see how this also affects interactions between strangers and newcomers. During crises, such as the recent pandemic, high social trust made a noticeable difference. Instead of relying on strict enforcement, authorities encouraged voluntary compliance. People followed guidelines because they trusted that others would do the same, creating a ripple effect of cooperation. This shows that trust isn't just an abstract idea, it has real, measurable effects on public safety and efficiency. Transparency and accountability are other key factors. Citizens know that public employees are expected to act honestly, and there are checks in place to prevent corruption. This creates an environment where fairness is the norm, and it strengthens the social contract. In turn, this allows people to interact more confidently in daily life, whether it's leaving a bicycle unlocked, paying for goods on an honesty system, or trusting that verbal agreements will be honored. Urban design also supports trust. Public spaces, communal areas, and pedestrian-friendly streets encourage interaction and visibility. When people see their neighbors and share common spaces, social bonds grow stronger. Communities built this way naturally reinforce behaviors like cooperation, respect, and reliability. Civic engagement further strengthens the trust network. Volunteering, local associations, and co-ops give people opportunities to participate actively in society. These experiences teach responsibility, fairness, and empathy, reinforcing the lessons children learned in school and at home. One striking effect of high-trust systems is that enforcement needs are lower. When most people act responsibly, fewer rules have to be imposed, and compliance becomes easier to achieve. This reduces stress and friction in everyday life and makes public systems more efficient. Finally, this creates a continuous feedback loop. Early experiences of trust are mirrored in public institutions and societal norms, which in turn reinforce trust in future generations. Later in the video, we'll explore how living or moving here makes this trust tangible in daily life, from simple interactions to community engagement. We've traced trust from childhood lessons, through institutions, into systems. Now let's bring it home. What does this mean for you, as a visitor, a new resident, or someone watching from abroad? By now, you've seen how trust is taught in childhood, reinforced by schools, and supported by institutions. But what does this mean for daily life if you move to or visit the country? Trust here isn't just a concept, it's experienced in everyday interactions. One of the first things you'll notice is how much simpler daily life can feel. Tasks that might require constant verification elsewhere, paying for services, interacting with public offices, or even leaving your belongings unattended, are often easier because people generally act in good faith. Imagine being able to leave your bicycle unlocked outside a cafe without worry, or trusting a neighbor to look after a package. This kind of social confidence is rare globally and makes life feel safer and smoother. The low crime rates are another reflection of this trust. Petty theft and minor offenses are much less common, which means less stress and friction in day-to-day routines. But it's not just about safety, it's also about cooperation. When you enter public offices, healthcare centers, or schools, you'll notice systems are designed to be user-friendly and efficient. People are assumed to act responsibly, which reduces bureaucracy and speeds up processes. Later, we'll see how this assumption of good intentions even affects community interactions. For newcomers, trust can be both a benefit and a challenge. While most people are willing to extend trust, building your own social capital takes time. Simple gestures like neighbors offering help, colleagues sharing advice, or locals welcoming you into community activities help bridge that gap. Engaging with these opportunities accelerates your integration and gives you first-hand experience of the trust-based culture. Conflict resolution is also different here. Disagreements are often approached cooperatively rather than adversarially, reflecting a broader social norm of fairness and accountability. People are encouraged to work together to find solutions, which further reinforces trust in both individuals and systems. Finally, the feedback loop is powerful. Early experiences of trust, combined with supportive institutions and community norms, create a living culture where respect, honesty, and cooperation are expected. These behaviors are reinforced daily, making trust visible in even the smallest interactions, from returning a lost wallet to the honesty of local shops. As you settle into this environment, you'll notice how much smoother life can feel when most people operate in good faith. Later, we'll look at how these experiences affect your sense of community and belonging, showing that trust is not just taught but lived every day. Thanks for watching. If you found this deep dive into Danish trust compelling, be sure to click the playlist to your right to explore more about Denmark's culture, social systems, and what life is like here. See you in the next video, and don't forget to comment which trust approach, strict rules or early autonomy, you choose in your country.